Today's AskReddit post. People who had sex with coworkers, what your relationship with them now like? Oh boy, this is gonna be a good one. Let's get started. Non-existent. We only interact if it's work related. But if we're the only people in the room, we pretend the other doesn't exist. Sounds like a good marriage. Okay, that made me lol. Slept with a coworker once, and it turned the work environment very toxic. Vowed to never do that again. Few years later, I found myself working at another company with a very beautiful colleague. There was a lot of mutual attraction, but since we both had bad experiences with work romances, we kept it professional. She started dating a guy, so the flirting cooled off. Eventually we both moved on to other jobs and lost contact. Then months later, out of the blue, she called me and pointed out we are no longer coworkers. We've been married for over 5 years now. This is my favorite one. I've slept with one coworker who ended up being my manager for 6 months a while after. It was fine, and I got all my annual leave approved for the year, including Christmas off. Haven't talked to her since she left town now. A pretty rare thing. Being amicable with someone you had intercourse with after they get promoted to being your manager. Why would it be rare? Unless you have a toxic jealousy trait, feels like it shouldn't be a problem. Dated her for 7 years. Great girl. Great relationship. No regrets. Not with her now, but really happy I got to be with her in this life. Wholesome. Pretty good overall. We did it. Dated for a while, etc. She hates that I call her my ex-girlfriend now that we are married to each other though, so I guess it's a little awkward. That's one of my favorite stupid jokes. Did you know that Sarah lives with her husband, her ex-fiancé, and her ex-boyfriend? Question mark? What a wild house. Worked in food service, so everyone was sleeping with everyone. I don't talk to any of them anymore. Once you hook up with one, it's like a flare goes up and a poop load more come calling. I hooked up with several over the course of a year, and yes, I feel like there's a post-it on my face that says TTF. I've gotten really good at the word no. She later became girlfriend to a friend. We slept together at the office actually. A while later she moved to another city, had no contact and I didn't know where she moved. Then a couple of years later I was at a party in my hometown, where I met an old friend. We hugged and he yelled, "Nice to see you, man. You ducked my girlfriend." I was confused. LMAO was a way to say hello after years after meeting. Married her. Now divorced for 16 years. Oh. Married nearly 2 decades. 2 kids. Edit. So, I made this comment and then left work for the day. Didn't check Reddit until just now. Seems like I accidentally a word there. Glad y'all thought it was funny. You married 2 kids? No, he married 2 decades. From this thread, you either marry them, or it destroys both of your lives, it sounds like. Unless you're in food service, then it's just an expected part of the industry. Not always. It can still ruin your life. I ducked a waitress at the restaurant I worked at. She got pregnant. I took care of her and my son. Then we broke up and now she is gone. She hasn't seen our son in about 6 years now. She sucks lol. We fell in love with each other before we slept together. Now we don't talk anymore because he ripped my heart in half. If you don't mind sharing, what happened? None of the relationships survive job changes, so I don't see any of them. They don't come back to visit after they graduate. Lol. I can hear her upstairs trying to convince the kids to wash their teeth, so logging out of Reddit to go and help her. Wholesome. Just hung up on wash instead of brush. Married to her now for 20 years next month. Married almost 15 years. 2 kids. Broke hourly employees when we met. Put each other through grad school, a good team. Almost exactly our story. We were both in college working poop tea jobs at Walmart. I ended up going into a trade and putting her through college, and then I went back and she put me through college. She's finishing grad school now. Married 15 years, own our second home, got 2 kids. We made a pretty damn good team. Congrats to you. Nothing quite like finding your person. I made the very dumb mistake of falling in love with her while she just used me as a rebound because she was mad at the guy she eventually got engaged to. We still work in very close quarters, so it's ducking hard. I might quit because it's too much. Do it. You deserve a lower stress work life. If you interview while still employed, you can hold out for a job that comes with a raise. I have intercourse with my boss almost every day and it never feels awkward. Just one of the perks of being self-employed. Fantastic lol. Divorced. Mortal enemies. Lol. Can only go 2 ways according to this thread apparently. You either get married and live happily ever after, or become mortal enemies and hate each other's guts. Did both. Married him and divorced him. Non-existent. He went round telling anyone and everyone. He lost his job, his ex found out about us, and she made allegations about him to management. I'll never talk to him again, and he's apparently trying to get his job back. That must be some top-notch wiggle and jiggle. Perfectly fine. Had no issues the whole time I was there. There is a trick to this though. Don't hook up with highly emotional people. For real. It's not worth the stress. We got engaged. He left me out of the blue and broke my heart, and he's still at work every day. Oof. I had intercourse with a coworker about 27 years ago. I'm about to go and ask her what she wants for dinner, since both of our kids are out this evening. We demand to know what your dinner plans are. Spaghetti bolognese but made with the farfalle pasta, because I forgot to buy spaghetti and the sauces from a jar. I accept that all Italians will hate me for this. D. Awkward. Slept with her. Year later she went missing and is presumed dead. Been about 8 to 9 years now. Great place to make a confession. I stalk her on Facebook every once in a while, hoping she got fat after dumping me. Still looks hot 20 years later. Screw you Natalie. Women with the name Natalie are always hot. Is there a science to that name? Like the song Nathalie from Bruno Mars. Haha. We got married 3 weeks ago. I visit their grave once a year. Mortician? Taxidermist. Married 15 years next week. Hey congrats, we hit our 15 this year in February. Well, it was 15 years ago. We just finalized our divorce last September. The whole thing never should have happened. I'm self-employed with no employees and to be honest, things have been awkward. Dating pool a little shallow. The left hand doesn't know what the right one is doing, and they are trying to keep it that way. Don't do it. Opus. Ha. The real reason behind this post. Back in undergrad, I had a big crush on one of the student managers at the dining hall we worked at. Anytime she would come by the station I was working at, I would try to have a quick joke ready to go, or simply ask how she was doing. She was in a relationship the first year we worked together, and I respected that. Sometime later, they break up, and I shot my shot. Well, the feelings were mutual. We hooked up, and coupled up too. 12 years later we are happily married. Evie, the cleaning lady at work, started out with flirting. Then we had some scotch late one night and made love at my desk. The next day she was pissy and threatened to report me to my boss. I gave her a gift of a beautiful sweater and she backed down. But then she noticed the sweater was stained and she got pissed again and reported me. I got fired and ended up changing careers. I'm an architect now. George. No. Art. Vandelay. This year is our 20th wedding anniversary. We are married. She had never worked at a call center and almost threw up on first call. I worked with her to get her out of her shell. Turns out she easily is the most outgoing person you'll ever meet. She just became a supervisor of the district she works and went back to school. She thanks me a lot for helping her break out. The intercourse is unbelievable. BTW. Dated and banged profusely for a few months. Then became the best of friends. She moved in with me shortly after as a roommate. Still banging every night after work. There's too much intercordial tension that builds in the office. We might give a relationship another try once our lives are in order. We made an agreement not to see others in the meantime for obvious health reasons. Being around each other is fulfilling enough. Sounds like you have a girlfriend with extra steps. They're gonna get married for tax benefits or some poop, and he's gonna claim they're still not a couple. Friendly to non-existent. Married nearly 20 years. Married with children. This sentence shows the importance of punctuation. We are now together. We have changed jobs and plan to get engaged soon. Non-existent. We both moved on to other companies shortly after our fling and lost touch. Super cool lady that I always had a crush on, but never made a move. She randomly asked me out one day after work. I took her out and showed her a good time. I was not expecting things to go any further, but they did. We do not speak anymore as she scares me. Why, you ask? The event happened around midnight, and we then talked until about 1:30. From my memory, I fell asleep after a good long pause in the conversation. I found out the next morning that I fell asleep mid-sentence, and she found that incredibly disrespectful. So she couldn't sleep and spent the rest of the night, but naked, smoking cigs, and talking to herself while going back and forth between the front yard and my living room until about 8:30 when my neighbor came over to borrow a tool. Together for almost 2 years and will celebrate our anniversary tomorrow. We are going to get married as well. Best relationship I've ever had, and it's not even close. No relationship anymore. For a pretty depressing reason. Coworker I used to fool around with got upset when I left the job for something better and stopped talking to me. A few months later, I found out that her ex had tracked her down and shot and killed her. This was all years ago, so I'm fine now. But I'm pretty sure that's the only time I've dipped my pen in the company I call. He's in the kitchen cooking me sticky toffee pudding whilst our 2 babies sleep. Keeper. Got married. So far it's great. Friends on Facebook with #1, #2, #3 and #4. #3 is the only one who posts occasionally on Facebook, and we speak occasionally on posts. Married to #5 for 30 years. You must have been a bartender or a yoga instructor. Well done either way, but I have to know. Celebrated our 8-year anniversary just recently. Married for 20 plus years with several happy and healthy children. She's the best thing that has ever happened to me and has made my life infinitely better. Bro, you actually watched the whole video. I'd give you a high five if I was a human. Make sure to click the like button and subscribe for more great content. See you next time.